Good morning, Citizen Kate. We do have a situation, and that situation is called I am reading the PDF for Project 2025. A Promise to America by Kevin D. Roberts, PhD. Kevin D. Roberts, PhD. In January 2024, Roberts said he did not believe that Joe Biden won the 2020 presidential election. He's been on Steve Bannon's podcast. Haven't we all? I have. Roberts authored a book, Dawn's Early Light, Burning Down Washington to Save America. Okay, it's been retitled. Just imagine being Kevin's poor editor, and being like, Dawn's Early Light, burning down Washington. Is there like a fun new meaning of the word burn that I haven't caught on to yet? You hip young thing. No, just setting it on fire for sure. How are you doing, Kevin? We're reading Kevin's foreword for Project 2025. I just want to do his writing. Justice, it's important. 44 years ago, the United States and the conservative movement were in dire straits. What happened 44 years ago? Jimi Hendrix died. Kevin is really upset about the 1970s as an era of dishonesty and corruption. Today, the problems are inflation is ravaging family budgets, drug overdose deaths, and children suffer the toxic normalization of transgenderism with drag queens and pornography invading their school libraries. It's always tacked on at the end. Drag queens are not necessarily transgender people. Does Kevin know this? That drag queen reading a book in the library really did a number on people, huh? What's cool about this segment is that you can watch the lines on my forehead get deeper in real time. You can watch my skin age from the stress. So what we'd be doing here is defining pornography as any mention of cross-dressing or anything remotely transgressive when it comes to traditional gender roles. Reframe, dude. God, okay. Whatever, we're getting off base. Overseas, a totalitarian communist dictatorship in Beijing is engaged in strategic, cultural, and economic Cold War against America's interests, values, and people, all while globalist elites in Washington awaken only slowly to that growing threat. Moreover, low-income communities are drowning in addiction and government dependence. So they're still dependent on the government to fix the economy that has made them poor. So the idea is for the government to provide a solution secretly to the poor families so that the solution isn't technically coming from the government, so that they're not government dependent. So it has to be secret. So this is a playbook dictated by how Reagan navigated the Cold War, which, let's be clear, there's no Cold War happening. We're in a trade war. It's different. Truthfully, whether it qualifies as a Cold War depends on who you ask, but in no ways is it even close to the Cold War that everyone knows. There are real wars happening in Ukraine and Gaza, but our focus in this document is on China, by following Reagan's playbook, which was, quote, Reagan defeated these beasts by ignoring their tentacles and striking instead at their hearts. It's top-notch prose, Kevin, I'm not gonna lie. His approach to the Cold War, we win and they lose. Again, what? His economic agenda, the human dignity of work and its many rewards, a lot of familiar rhetoric on the value of hard work and the value of $1, an American dollar. Hard work, as the man puts in the work in American society to earn his keep. But what if he's earning his keep and they won't give him enough shekels for it? Because he knows the value of $1, but does the government know the value of $1? But it doesn't matter because, as Reagan said, we win and they lose. So this book and Project 2025 as a whole will arm the next conservative president with the same kind of strategic clarity, but for a new age. Again, huge disclaimer, Trump did not help write Project 2025. This is a separate conservative, pretty extreme Republican think tank. But it does speak to how conservatives like Trump because he's easily manipulated. And there's a whole handbook on how to do it and how to steer this new leader towards the conservative promise. Here we go. The first promise. Restore the family as the centerpiece of American life and protect our children. We see this, the veiled words, right? In protecting our children. Okay, just checking. In many ways, the entire point of centralizing political power is to subvert the family. Its purpose is to replace people's natural loves and loyalties with unnatural ones. It is being undercut by the excessive italicization. And I did get that note at a writing intensive once, which is you use italics too much. People feel a little attacked by all the italics. And I would forward that note on to Kevin, even though his writing is really powerful, and I'm being nitpicky. Today, the American family is in crisis. 40% of all children are born to unmarried mothers, including more than 70% of Black children. It feels like a stab at not being racist. I don't know if it's successful. There is no government program that can replace the hole in a child's soul cut out by the absence of a father. I want to know what happened with Kevin Roberts' dad. Did Kevin Roberts, PhD, dad leave for cigarettes one day, asking for a friend? It doesn't seem like James A. Roberts Sr. left, but it sure does feel like it. Promise number 1 of Project 2025 is stop daddy issues, which is something that we can all agree on. Furthermore, the next conservative president must understand that using the government alone to respond to symptoms of the family crisis is a dead end. Then what is the... Federal power must instead be wielded to reverse the crisis and rescue America's kids from the familial breakdown. The conservative promise includes dozens of specific policies to accomplish this existential task. Okay, so you do have policies to further this end through the federal government. So this is a plan for instituting policies in the federal government to ensure that the federal government stops instituting policy. Is that what I think that's what I'm reading. Some are obvious and long-standing goals like eliminating marriage penalties in federal welfare programs and the tax code and installing work requirements for food stamps. Again, with the welfare shaming. Disabled people, not part of the discussion. The next conservative president must make the institutions of American civil society hard targets for woke culture warriors. This starts with deleting the terms sexual orientation and gender identity, diversity, equity, and inclusion, gender equality, gender equity, gender awareness, gender sensitive, abortion, reproductive health, reproductive rights, and any other term used to deprive Americans of their First Amendment rights out of every federal rule, agency regulation, contract, grant regulation, and piece of legislation that exists. I want to read that again. States, cities, and counties, school boards, union bosses, principals, and teachers who disagree with the values put forth by Project 2025, re-education, redistributing pornography, should not be allowed in public education and should, quote, be immediately cut off from federal funds. What federal funds? You think teachers have federal funds in the first place? 0 minus 0 is 0.
I got a note from a very smart woman named Andrea in my email that said, but Lola, schools do receive federal funds. Obviously they do. Just saying they don't get a lot.
Let us continue. The noxious tenets of critical race theory and gender ideology should be excised from curricula in every public school in the country. These theories poison our children who are being taught on one hand to affirm that the color of their skin fundamentally determines their identity and even their moral status, while on the other, they are taught to deny the very creatureliness that inheres in being human and consists in accepting the givenness of our nature as men or women. Allowing parents or physicians to reassign the sex of a minor is child abuse and must end. for public institutions to use taxpayer dollars to declare the superiority or inferiority of certain races, sexes, and religions is a violation of the Constitution and civil rights law. I don't even have something funny, it's just sad. And then a hard left to big tech. Consider our approach to big tech. The worst of these companies prey on children like drug dealers to get them addicted to their mobile apps. This is true. I'm confused how this is folded in with the promise reinstituting the American family. Finally, conservatives should gratefully celebrate the greatest pro-family win in a generation, overturning Roe v. Wade. Aha, at last. What we've all been waiting for, right? Well, that was a lot, and we're gonna have to stop there for today. It's been an hour of filming, and I would love to say that it has been a delight, but it has not. Oh, sorry, I'm back. I'm sick. So, let's recap. Promise 1 of Project 2025 is to reinstitute the institution of the American family, which for some reason includes taking down big tech, making sure that critical race theory isn't taught in schools, no drag queen storytime hour, although they seem to have confused that for transgender porn hour, and what else? No, that no one will be fatherless ever again. Again, this is all under the premise of reinstituting the American family. Once again, my regards to Kevin. Okay, I'm gonna go to bed.